Hope you enjoy our first stretch class. We're into stretch class number 2 today. A lot more planned for today. We're going to work in a lot more stuff around our hips, which is where we hold most of our tension. Hips, lower back, mid back, all sorts of stuff going on. But as we always start off with, we're going to assess our functional movement, which me and Ads have figured out is probably putting our socks on or our shoes on, balancing on one leg. Are we right? So we'll start off with that again. We'll focus on our breathing once again, and we'll focus on our posture. And we'll see kind of how everything's balanced at the start. Go through this wonderful stretch routine that I've got planned for you today, and then we'll come back and reassess it at the end. Right, so let's test our functional movement out. So again, it could be something different from you. Could be just getting up off the floor. I'm just going to raise it up a little bit so you can see it a bit better. It could be something a little bit different for you, but like for me, I always find personally that I can lift my left knee up, and we're standing on quite a squishy mat here. If we actually stood on the studio floor, Ads, a bit easier to balance anyway, rather than balance wiggling around. That's what he says, is bring that up, and I can actually bring my hands quite comfortably to that foot. Now, my right side is much tighter. I find it really hard to get down there, so often I have to twist my knee out to put my sock on over here. Now, what we want to be able to assess is how far does this get better as we come up. Now, it might be for you that you are going to, you find maybe getting up off the floor, lots of hard work, you know. That might, especially us adults, as we start getting tighter, you know, if we do lots of work sitting at desks and stuff like that, and not easing ourselves off so much. Could be anything. It might be when you reach up to get something off a shelf, you know, you might get a little tweak in your shoulder or all sorts of different things. Getting out of bed in the morning. So what we can do, and maybe you'll have to pause it if you want to test getting in and out of bed before we do our stretch routine, but find your functional movement. Let's test it out. So let's see how we're doing today, Ads. For us, left foot, I can reach it, bring my knee up. Right foot, it's tougher. I've been doing lots of this stretching. In fact, we're videoing this a couple of days after the first session we did, and actually I'm still feeling pretty good from that session. Are you? Yeah, good. So we're already holding on to that improvement, which is good. Okay, right, so we've tested our functional movement now. Now let's go ahead and test out our breathing. So remember, we're going to place one thumb onto the belly button, so the hand sits on our lower tummy. You can bring that other hand in, and just nice and slowly, just breathe in, see whether the breath flows into that lower tummy. And then relaxes. Do you feel too much breath going on down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, breath for me likes to go down into my tummy. And then we can take it up a bit higher and more around our waist. Just so it's round to the sides. Now does the breath go out into the sides? A little bit? Can you feel much pushing out?
Mine quite goes out to the side.
It goes out quite a bit, yeah, nice. Now remember, we can also test whether it goes into our back as well. So place the lower hand, the back of the other hand onto the lower back. Now when you breathe in, does that breath go out to the back as well, or is it more in the front?
It's more in the front, but I can't feel it.
You can feel it a bit in the back. Good, good, good. So maybe with all our back opening today, that we might feel a bit more blowing up like a balloon, because we want to think of it as one big beach ball that blows up in all the directions, at front and back, out to the sides, and top and bottom. Right, let's take our hands a bit higher now onto our ribs if we can. If we can't get our hands onto our ribs, if we're a bit too tight, not a problem. Just relax your arms and focus your attention on your ribs. Let's see if we can get our breath up here. A little bit less than before,
Yeah,
not too much. Okay, let's see if we can improve on that one. And then we can put our hands on our hearts, right in the middle. Obviously our heart is over onto our left side, but when we say our heart, we're generally right in between our centre of our chest. Maybe a little bit higher than that, higher up, see whether that breath flows up. Let's have a look. I've got a bit going on there. Not too much for you? No. And then finally what we can do is we can have one on our hand, lower belly, thumb on belly button, other hand on the top. Now what we want to see is when we breathe in, does it expand in both directions? Can we get the top coming up and the bottom going down? Lots of bottom for me, not so much top for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, about the same? Good. So that's looked at our breathing. Next, we're going to look at our posture. So if we just march on the spot, 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 and stop. Now, don't move your feet. Have a little look down to your feet and see how they're positioned. Now, for most of us, our feet tend to point out a little bit. Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. It's where most of us are at. I won't go into why that is. We don't need to know that, but we just need to see where our feet are to start off with. And so by the end of the session, let's see if they've straightened up a little bit more, or whether they're still the same, or whether you start walking around like all crazy, like a duck. So hopefully it's not that one. So we've got our feet where they are. And if you've moved them and you can't tell, walk on the spot again, looking up to the ceiling, even jog on the spot a little bit, and then stop. And now don't move and look down. So that's where your feet are now. We'll do that at the end as well today, just to see whether that's changed. Because ideally everything is lined up, but we don't want to force it. We want to release all the tension that's causing it to turn out, so it releases back in. Good. Now let's watch our knees. We did this in the first class. Bend those knees gently forwards and watch them. Do they go in? Does one maybe come in? Is one tempted to go out? You know, what happens? Let's see. Can you feel quite a bit of tension down the front of the leg? I can feel quite a stretch down the back of my right leg, around my Achilles area. What do you feel, Az? What can you see? Your knees want to roll in a bit?
Yeah.
Did that the other day, don't they? And I can feel a bit of tension on my right knee as well. So I've got knee and ankle feeling more tension, more stretch. Okay, standing there, if you can, close your eyes. Let's see if we can sense how our weight is balanced on one foot and the other. Do we have more weight on one foot or the other foot? Is it more towards the front of your toes, or is it more towards the back of your heels? Okay, let's just feel that. Good. Now, depending on how it feels, mine feels quite balanced today, actually, quite even. Don't know about you. More on one leg than the other?
Yeah, it's more on this side.
More on the lefty, on the heel for you. So let's do what we did the other day. Let's go from one side to the other. Now, if you're watching this at home, hopefully we're not making you feel seasick, like you're on a boat. So go one side, then the other. Do it a little less, little less, little less, little less, little less, little less, until you're right in the middle and it's all evened out. Wonderful. We do the same with our knees. Bend the knees forwards a little, bend them back and just lightly, without forcing them, push back into the knees. Bend the knees forwards, little less, little less, little less, little less, bing, 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 and find that middle point. There should be a little bounce to the knees, ideally, not locked out and not too slack like a rag doll. You want just a nice spring. If you're gonna be able to do like a lot of your workouts, whether you've got some boxing stuff going on or some kind of like Joe Wixie sort of stuff going on, you want to be able to bounce and move quickly at a second's notice and pounce. You know, you want to be ready for stuff. Now, if we're all locked up in our muscles and our fascia, we can't move. We're rigid. We're like stuck in the treacle, stuck in the mud. We can't move. And that's what sports people often cause a lot of problems with their joints and tear things and muscles and whatnot, because they're not springy enough. So we're going to get ourselves back to our springiness, which is going to be really good. Okay, nice. Next bit, come on to our hips, our pelvis. Again, I'll go sideways on. You can stand forwards if you want, Ads. And what we're going to do is stick our bum out, which is actually tilting our hips forwards. See how that feels in your back? That's it. And then we're going to tuck our bum under, which is tilting backwards. See how that feels? And again, we're going to stick our bum out, tuck under, do it less and less and less and less and less and less until we find a middle point. And often what we find, that middle point, for a lot of us, we actually feel a connection around our tummy. You might have heard of core work. You might just feel a little bit of abdominal connection there. Wonderful. And the Pilates classes that run alongside these really are going to help more with that side of things. Perfect. Right, let's think of our shoulders next. So what we're going to do is roll our shoulders forwards, roll them back, forwards, back, less and less and less and less and less, till you're in the middle. Good. For most of us, our shoulders, to find that middle point, will be slightly back. A lot of time we're a bit slouched, a bit slumpy. We're on our games, watching TV, we're at desks and all sorts of stuff, a bit too much in this modern day. Our shoulders are often forward. So we just We're just building that up. Last thing, last couple of things. Head going forwards, really gentle on the neck here. Head going back, forwards, back, forwards, back, forwards, back. Less and less and less until you find that middle point. And for most of us, our head will be slightly back than normal, so the head tends to drop forwards a bit. Okay? And then imagine your head like a big helium balloon, and the rest of your body is like a puppet that's just being held up by that balloon. That's one big thing that your fascia does, actually holds you up in gravity. A bit like seaweed in the sea is supported. That's what our fascia is really good for. So this big balloon head that we've got is floating us up in the air, and our body can be like, whoa, like seaweed in the sea, hanging, or like a basket from a hot air balloon. So our head's a balloon, and the rest of our body's the basket hanging from the ropes. We should be all able to sway around. Good. Okay, so that's our posture, and we'll start to notice where we're at with that one. Excellent. Right, so we've done our three things. So the next little bit we're going to look at today is we're going to warm up our hips. We're going to assess how tight our hips are. Most of our hips are pretty tight. I'm interested to see how tight your hips are, Ads. So right, what we're going to do, I'm just going to adjust the camera because we're going to sit down for this bit, is we're going to take our hands behind us, take our feet out in front, and I'm going to go a little bit sideways on so you can see me a little bit more. What we want to make sure is that we don't have our hands too close to our butt. Otherwise, we ain't got much room to move. So we're going to walk the hands out quite a way behind us and then take them nice and wide as well. So they're not trying to close in. You don't want your shoulders up around your ears. Shoulders make rubbish earrings. So once your hands are nice and wide behind you, have your feet out there in front as well. Again, not too close together, not too tucked in. Good distance. Lovely, lovely, bubbly. And then all we're going to do here is roll one knee over and the other knee out. So this leg is going what we call external rotation, outward rotation. And this one is going internal, rotating in. Now what we want to be able to see is, and test out and assess, when we roll over to one side, what's that internal rotation like on one leg? And what's the external rotation like on the other leg? How far does this outside one go to the floor? It might not. How far does this one come in? And where do you feel the pull? Let's take it over to the other side. Again, is it similar? Oh, this right one feels tighter on my thigh. Hey, you're pretty flexy there. Your knees are always on the floor.
But this one is a bit more hot.
Oh yeah, so your right one, how does that feel? Does that feel tight?
No.
Let's go to the other side. What about when you move over? Your left one feels tighter. That one feels tighter. So for every single woman or female or girl I've ever worked with in my studio, their left side is the tightest. So Addie is showing that. And now every single man or young man that I've worked with, I found that every right side is tight in the man. And that's true for me too. So an interesting little fact on there, because actually our right side is our masculine side, and our left side is our feminine. So won't go into all of the ins and outs on that. That's just a little interesting fact for you there. So let's do some windscreen wipers here. Let's take this over. I know this side is the tightest side for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the center, and I'm going to do a few over to the center, and over to the left there for me, over to this side. So I ease this tight side off a bit more first. And I'm actually getting a lovely stretch in my arm as well. So my arms are getting a good gentle stretch out. Now the key when we're doing this type of fascial stretching is that one, we keep moving. Two, we ideally breathe out when we stretch, in when we return, out when we stretch. And three, we only try and push it to take it to a 1% of stretch. So the first point you find it tightens, that's all you're going to go. Rather than, like we've probably done before, oh, it's such a big stretch, it really hurts, stretching. That's not what we want to be doing, okay? That's what our modern science has shown us, that often isn't very helpful for flexibility or stretching or preventing injuries. In fact, if we get this moving this way and just take it to that little 1% stretch each time, we will make wonderful big gains. Now my right side's starting to ease off already.
Mine's already.
Yours already eased off. Oh man. Okay, now I'm going to go over to my left and do a few here so I don't feel left out. See if I can match it up, because what we're trying to do in life stretch, which is the type of stretching we're doing, fascial stretching, is we're trying to get everything even. I'm trying to even it out. Let me see now if I go from side to side with my windscreen wipers, over to that side. Yep, nice. Over to that side. Oh, it's actually a bit tighter in my arm. I'm going to do a few more over here until my arm feels free. Remember, just 1% of stretch. One little bit of stretch and then spring back. One little bit of stretch and go back. If you feel like, this is really tight, this is really pulling, you're going way too far. Just over and back. Let's do one last little assessment. See if we've evened it up. It feels good. Feels good. All right. So good. We're starting to open our hips up, and that's bringing a lot of fluid into our hips and freeing them up and freeing up all the tension around them. Right. Next little one. We're going to do a bit of skiing here. A bit of slalom skiing. Let's level that up. Right. On all fours. And nice and gentle to start off with. Okay, I'll do a little bit of an angle so you can see me a bit better. Is we might want to bring our knees together. I find it's a bit better with knees together, to be honest. Is take your hands nice and wide, big wide position of your hand. Wide position of your hands. And we're just going to take our hips just over to the side until you feel a little stretch around your bum. Maybe where the back of your leg comes up into that bum. Go over to the side, and then feel how tight that is. And over to the other side. Feel how tight that is. Oh, definitely tighter on my right side. Tighter on your left. Let's see. Right side there.
Yeah, it's tighter on my right.
Tighter on your right for your leg there for you. Oh, I've got lots of interesting little bits of tightness going on there. So we're just going to go from side to side again, just into that 1% of stretch. That first point where you feel a little bit of stretch, you spring back and go over to the other side. First point of stretch, spring back. You go into it and out from it. Just like you're putting a little elastic band, storing the energy and then releasing the energy. And bit by bit, what you'll notice is it will start to free up. It will start to loosen up, and you'll be able to go further and further and further. So we're starting to understand that, especially if we're going to prepare our bodies for some hard exercise and hard movement, and this is what you can do with this sort of stuff. If you're going to be doing some really hard, strong strengthening work, you know, like you're skipping, you're boxing, maybe a HIIT session like a Joe Wicks, then you want your body to be ready to go at that pace. So what we're going to do now with our hips is we go from side to side, bang, going into that stretch. Now, if it is a bit sore on the wrists, as Ads just did, give it a little wiggle out, shake out. We won't do too much more of this. A couple more little bits over to the sides. But if you're going to do these stretches before you do exercise, you want to pick the pace up, because it's going to match the same pace that you're going to do the exercises at. And you're going to find your hips start to get all the way to the sides. And as they go to the sides, what you can also do is just drop the hip and look around the corner, look over your shoulder. Take it over, drop the hip, look over the shoulder. Starts opening your back up. Now, if I was just about to get ready for a good HIIT session, I would start to move quicker. If I've just done my HIIT session or my hard workout, I'd be doing these much slower because I want to restore the flexibility. I'm not getting my body ready for hard work. I'm bringing it down and relaxing it from hard work, okay? So you can change what we call the tempo of our stretching to suit the activity or suit the purpose. You can speed up the tempo if you're getting your body more ready for a quicker tempo exercise, or if you're doing it afterwards, you can slow the tempo down and it will bring your flexibility back. So you don't feel so sore in the morning, you don't feel so tight after your workout, and you recover much quicker. Okay, we've got one last little bit to do in this little side stretch. I absolutely love this stretch. It does so much around our hips and our legs and our backs. Onto all fours again. Now I want you to visualize, first of all, we're going to visualize like a rainbow. I used to say a sad face, but rainbow is much better. So you're on all fours, and imagine where your knees are is right in the middle of the top of that rainbow, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the side as if we're starting to go over the rainbow, and then we're going to sit back down towards our heel, towards the opposite side, to sit down to one end of the rainbow, maybe where the pot of gold is. You get a bit more stretch in your butt when you do that. So it's more to the side first, and then you go backwards, back, sit back on your heels, if you can, just as far as your flexibility will allow. And then you come up the rainbow, walking your hands over, And then, and then sit that butt back. Oh man, that's way tighter in my butt on this right side. Oh, I'm going to trust my principle of only going 1% here. I'm going to go into that stretch a little bit, up the rainbow, over you go, down the other side. Oh, piece of cake for me. So I know I don't need to level myself out. I don't need to come down to this side, my left side. I need to do more over on the right. So we come up, over we go. And then I'm just going to do a few, just going down on my right on that 1% and back up to halfway up the rainbow. Down to that corner of the rainbow, back up. And you do the same for which side is tighter for you. Keep it moving. Keep breathing. Hopefully you're keeping on breathing. If you haven't passed out with all the hard work yet. Not too hard, is it? I'm not too mean today. No, you're all right. Good. Okay. And once you've sort of done a few on your tight side, let's just do one more to balance that out. Over to this, let's test it out. Let's assess it. Over to the side, sit back, feels good. Up the rainbow, all the hands over. Down the other side of the rainbow. Yeah, feels good. Even that one out. Good. Last but not least, we now got a big smiley face, an upside down rainbow. Okay? So hopefully you're feeling all right. Hopefully okay. We did a lot of the arm work and stretch work, which prepared you for this kind of body weight work, and in the Pilates session, lots of arm work as well. So I've got it all ready basically. So this session was a bit easier. Touch wood, fingers crossed. Right, on to all fours. Last one we're gonna do a big smiley face. We go over to the side first, and then you're gonna, so I've gone over to the side, now I'm gonna come up to the top corner of the smile, walking my hands forwards. Nice, that opens the front of your hips and your tummy up a bit. Down the smile, across the smile, and up to the other corner. Up to that big smile, letting your hips come forwards if it feels okay to in your hips and your back. Down the smile, across the smile, big loop, and up again. One more this side. Wonderful. Down we go. Over the other side, and up the other side. Good. And one for luck, we're going to come back to the middle, and we're going to go forwards and straight forward. Bring those hips forwards, just as you'll see. That's it. You'll see here. Come forwards. And then just a stretch of your tummy, looking up if it feels okay to in your back muscles. Be careful with yourselves, don't push yourself. And then we'll sit back in what we call a child's pose position. Open your knees wide, stretch your arms out, relax your head down, and that will give us a back. I'm very jealous of Addie because she squishes down and my body's not that flexible. Well done. Okay, that's a lot of work in our hips. Enough on those arms for now. Plenty of stuff from there. So let me see what I plan next. Oh, okay, here we go. Next, we're going to do a movement called the core four of our lower body. This is where it gets really good. So we're actually going to start stretching out, first of all, our butt muscles, called our glutes. And mainly it's going to be gluteus maximus, okay, the biggest one. So we're going to sit onto the hip. We're going to take another leg round behind you. You got it. Take that leg round behind, and then the foot just sits gently towards the knee. Perfect. Now, if you have a look at this front knee, this front leg, got it? Think of it as an arrow pointing forwards. Now, if that's pointing straight up, you want to plonk one hand either side of that knee, of the arrow. Okay? Good. Now, what we're going to do here, because this is going to be the butt we're stretching, the one we're sitting on, doesn't matter if you're the other way around, it's cool, is we're going to lift up. Imagine that helium balloon again. Or if you've watched the first Pilates class, imagine your front zipping up and your back zipping up and over and down. And then that's your in-breath. In-breath to lift, and then out-breath, you just lean forwards a little bit until you feel that first little stretch in your butt. Now, the moment you feel that first little stretch, you're going to drop your chin to your chest. So you form a curve in your back, and you can push your hands forwards to roll back. Just like a wave. In fact, we call this, in fascial stretching, a stretch wave. So we're going to come back up, lifting on the in-breath, and we're going forwards until we feel that first stretch on the out-breath. Dropping the chin, coming down, coming back. I'll twist myself around so you can see it from a different angle. Let's keep going. Breath in, and then forwards, chin down, rolling back. So one of the other rules in fascial stretching is that we never go back the same way that we came. We always look to come back a different route. So our tissue, especially our muscles that are tight, don't spring back to the same tightness. Good. Okay, now if that's eased off a little bit, what we're going to do is walk our hands just a little bit. If that was 12 o'clock and we've got our legs around this way, we're going to move around towards the opposite knee, just 1 hour. Not away from the knees, towards the knees, okay? So I'm going to go from 12 o'clock, because I've got my legs around this way, 11 o'clock. Your hands will be about here. Lovely. Okay, you're going to lift up there and then lean forwards there. This will be tighter once again, because your butt muscles are like a big fan. And what we want to do is make sure we go across all the different fibers of that fan. Lift up, in breath, stretch forwards. Now, if it's a bit pinchy in your hip, don't go too far in. In fact, go further out away from the knees. But if it feels okay, you can come in. If it's still too pinchy, really make sure you lift up out of your hip and then only go forwards until you feel that first little pinch in your butt. First little stretch in your butt. Don't want any pinching. Nervous systems don't like pinching and they tighten your body up more. Good, let's just get into it a little bit more. I always imagine, you know, it's one of my things. I've got really lovely long hair. Lovely flowing hair. I get to swing it around like a, you know, L'Oreal advert or, you know, rock star or something. What do you think? I'd sleep long hair. What colour hair would I have if it was pink? Lovely flowing pink hair. Wonderful. Okay, that was our right side. Let's test out our, that was the first side. You might have chosen a different side, so it might not be right. Let's swap it around the other way. Remember, the leg goes behind you. Whoop, hello. I think I'm tighter in my other side, my lefty. So hands either side of the knee first. Lift up, breath in. And always on your stretch, another rule of fascial stretching. Breathe out as you go forwards, just that 1% little stretch. Roll it back with your stretch wave. Listen, reaching up, going forwards. Coming down and back. Reaching up, going forwards. Good. Coming back. Let's do a handful more. If it eases out pretty quick, the hands can go 1 hour round towards the opposite knee. And you can do on that angle, and that angle, and that hour, and that hour. You won't be able to go all the way around. I don't think so anyway. This is really flexible, and you join the circus. There's the flexi, so you're going to come around that way a bit more. That's it, just a little bit, not all the way. You're too bendy, you are. Jealous. I'm jealous of you. So let's just ease that out of our stretch wave. Okay. Right, next, we stay in this position, okay? I'm just going to back up a little bit. We can stay in this position and we're going to bring ourselves just down onto our forearm behind us, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to bring one hand in front. You got it? You spawn my cheesy feet. Okay. And make sure you give yourself a little bit of room and you take that hand over behind you and just lean back a little bit. Often you'll feel much more of a stretch down into your big quad muscles in the front of your thighs. Feel the stretch there, Ad? Not too bad. If you're tight, your knee will lift up a bit like mine. If you're not, your knee stays on the floor. Not so tight there. Bring the arm back up in front. In breath, out breath, take it back. Remember, you're just about to do some dynamic, big exercise work. We can do this quicker. Build up the tempo to match the movement you're going to do. If you're doing this after your workout or on your day off, in between hard work sessions, then you can do it slower and ease it out that way. Okay, next little thing, we stay in the same position. We come up onto our hands and we start to walk our hands around the corner. Just until you get that first little stretch across your tummy. Feel a little stretch on your tummy? Maybe a bit in your back. Let's bring this leg, let's bring that there, this one back, so that foot's against the knee. You've got it. Yours in your back, not a problem. You can feel it in your back, your tummy, your hip, your thigh muscle, lots of different places. So we're going to walk around. I feel it more a little cross on an angle on my tummy. And I'm going to put my weight on my hand closest to my front knee on the in-breath. And then I'm going to put my weight over to the other hand that's around the corner. And I'm going to just gently twist on the out-breath. And that's just going to give me a little twisting stretch across my hip and tummy. I'm going to come in again on the in-breath on that slack hand closest to knee. And I'm going to transfer my weight and go around the corner. Breath in and out. Breath in and out with your stretch. 1%, little stretches. Remember, it's not about forcing anything or making it hurt. Less is way more, guys. You'll find that'll start to ease off after a while. Good. After you've freed that up. Wonderful. Okay, this is looking good. Now, you stay where you are. Hopefully you can still see me. I'm going to twist around so you can see what I'm doing next. Okay, so I've just walked all the way around where you were, and you've just been doing this wonderful stretch. I think of it a bit like, a gecko on hot sand. That's what I tend to think when I'm doing that. We now drop to the forearm. Okay, down to the forearm, and we're going to take our arm up to the top. This is like a swimming stroke, and we just gently reach over and turn our shoulders towards the floor, really gently, until you feel, again, I'm feeling a bit more stretch across my tummy, but often you'll feel it a lot higher up in your mid-back. Okay, then imagine you're pulling through the water on the in-breath, lift, and then out-breath on the stretch. In-breath, come around, pull through the water, take the arm up. Ads has got a much better swimming action than I have, much better swimmer than me. Like a little fish. Take the arm over. You can get lower back twisting and stretching, mid-back twisting and stretching. Really wonderful to open out all those tight lower backs that nearly all of us have. Remember, just that 1% of stretch, so you're not forcing it. And a couple more. Last one here. Relaxing, relaxing, relaxing. And if you can, just drop down onto both forearms here. Widen them out away from each other a bit. And just imagine you're like a commando on the horizon, scanning the horizon, keeping low so no one can see you as you go from side to side. Or meerkats stand up, don't they? They don't look across the eye. But imagine you keeping your head down, no one can see you, and you're looking for the danger around the horizon there as we're opening that one up. Now we'll get a little bit more into your lower backs and ease those ones out. Beautiful. Right, round to the other side. We did our glutes already this side. So once we're here, we swap the legs around. And one leg goes behind, another leg sits against the knee. We're just going to have our hand in front. Boom, one hand in front. And then you take it behind, leaning back a little bit to get into that thigh muscle. Hand in front. Oh, you've got the same legs. You've got to spin your legs, swap your legs around. This is. Okay, go down to your forearm on that side. This arm's going to come out in front. Down to your forearm, like knee onto your elbow. Then your elbow. There you go. One hand in front, and then one hand behind. And lean back a little bit if it feels okay to. One hand in front, one hand behind. Lean back. Get that little stretch in your thigh muscle, yeah? Feel that? One in front, one behind. One in front, one behind. Depending on the tempo, depending on what you're going to do, or whether you're relaxing and restoring your flexibility, depends on how fast you do it. Okay, there's that one. Back up again. Walk the hands around the corner. I'll pivot so you can see a bit better. I'm walking my hands around the outside. Make sure you don't go too far. You don't want to end up so tight you can't move. You want to find that first little bit of tightness. That's it. That's good. Nice wide hand position. Weight on the hand nearest the knee on the in-breath. Weight on the other hand on the out-breath, and just look around the corner. Look over your shoulder. Breath in on slack. Breath out on stretch. In on slack. Out on stretch. Good. Keep it going. Easing it off. Make sure you turn your shoulders. So you're actually turning that. So there you go. Feel it more in your back. Just pulling that leg around. That's it. So your foot's against the knee. And then as it eases off, you might be able to walk your hands a little bit further around the corner. Yeah, I reckon you're flexible enough to go a bit further there, Ads. And then last but not least, I'll pivot a little bit more. You can stay where you are. Wherever you got round to, drop down onto the forearm. Take the spare arm, the outside arm up, breathing in. And then an out breath as you turn and stretch over, turning your shoulders and chest to the floor. Imagine you're pulling through the imaginary water, and then up, and then gently over. This could be pretty tight to start off with, so try not to force it again. Stick with that little 1%. The first little stretch you get, that's where you go to and come back from. Less is more, guys, every single time. The fascia doesn't like to be forced. Your system will let go and open up and become much more flexible and free and fluid if you be nice to it and you don't force it. Good. One more. Woohoo! Good. Right. That's a lot of lovely hip stretching, back stretching. Let's test our windscreen wipers again. So we're sitting, hands good distance behind us, nice distance apart. Feet nice distance apart and all closed in and tucked in. Good bit of distance there, nice. And then we take the knees over to the one side. Woo! You feel that? It's like someone's oiled our hips up, huh? Feels a bit better? Yeah. I know. And what you're noticing as well, which is really good sign, as you go over, what ends up happening is the hip lifts up and pushes forwards like that. Can you feel that? Yeah. That's really good. That's a really good sign that we're starting to line up. All our fascia and our hip sockets are getting freer. Let's go onto our knees again. Let's just go side to side as we did before. Test the hips out there. Oh, they drop down to the floor dead easy now. You feel that? Sweet. And what we're starting to get is it's much easier. You go to one side, bing, and you spring over to the other side. Like just pulling back a bit of elastic, and then it springs and goes to the other side. Or, as you would have seen before, like this kind of thing, like a slinky spring. Goes to one side, and then the other side. That's what we want, a body that's real slinky and springy, like that. Not all heavy and achy and working hard in that way necessarily. Beautiful. Right. That's what we call our core 4 of our lower body. Now then, jubba jabba joo, we've done that, we've done that, we've done that. We've got a really nice little list of things for us today. We've done that, we've done that. Let's have a look next. We've even done that. Oh, okay. Nice. Next little bit, we're going to get into our lower backs a little bit more. So I'm going to put us on an angle, actually. Jump off the mat a second. Good. A bit better for us to see. Okay. Let's lay ourselves down to our backs here. Okay. You right there? Yeah. Oh, hey. Okay, right. So what we're going to do nicely here is just bring your knees close up to your chest. And we're just going to loosen our lower backs up here. Just hugging those knees in gently, rolling from side to side. Yeah, watch out you don't go too far and flip over or flop over. And then what we can do is just roll, do nice big circles. Nice big circles with those knees. Change the direction. Nice big circles there. I'm getting a little bit of a click in my left hip. What about you, Addie? Any clicky bits? No. No? Good. And then what we can do is we can slide one leg out and keep hold of the other knee over the top. So slide one leg out straight, that's it. And then bring that other knee in. What we can do is we can just gently stir nice big circles with that knee. Yeah, stir the soup, or I like to think of it as like, I think Winnie the Pooh and a big pot of honey. So your hips are normally quite like honey. They're quite thick and they're not free, they're quite gloopy. And after this kind of stretch session, let's change the direction, it's going to free up. So if you heat up honey, it becomes way more runny and not so thick and gloopy. And that's what we want in our joints. That's it. Bring that around. Good. Okay, let's swap those legs over. Slide that leg out, the other hand's over the top. Let's just do a few little circles there. One direction. Again, notice how it's feeling. Is it tighter in the front, tighter in the back? This is all very good. Nice. Around the other way. Good. Excellent. Okay, that's feeling good. Now, what we're going to do on this test, we're going to keep that leg out there. We're going to cross, you can't quite see me there, actually. I'm going to spin around here. So, you can cross the leg over, just so it's just above the knee. Make sure you're not on the kneecap, just above the knee, and drop that knee out the way. And all you're going to do is just gently push that thigh and that knee away from you, just to open out at the front of the hip here. You have to slide your other leg out straight, that's it. The other leg there, that's it. And then just push that thigh, that's it. So when you're here, on your back, straight leg, boom. This one here, and you're going to push this bit forwards. Not with your leg, with your hand. Give him a little push. Yeah, lovely job. You got it. You got it there, Ads. Just like that. Giving that a little push. If it feels okay too. Good. Swap the legs over there. Swap that one. Oh, this one inside here needs a bit more stretching for me. Yes, perfect. That was good. Push that one away gently. See if you can bring it up a little. Drop it down. Bring it up a little. Drop it down. Very nice. And then bring those knees up. Okay. And we're going to just next go into our next position where we're just going to open our chest out and our back together. So with our knees bent up, we're going to roll those knees over to one side. Okay. And we're just going to keep our palms flat down by our sides to start with. So knees are on top of each other, Ads. Stacked up. You got it. That's it. And you're going to bring the top knee up a little bit. And the hand that's closest to that knee, you're going to just lightly grab over the top. Okay? And all we're going to do here, keep our palm down first of all, is slowly ease that hip over. So you're pulling it over to the side. I'll help you out. Okay? So that's it. So you're going to try and see if you can bring that over. So you should feel a stretch around the back here. What do you think? Well, you're just too flexy, too bendy. You're good. I feel lots of lovely stretches around the back here. That's okay, yeah. Around the front of your hip and around the sides is good. So just go into that stretch and then come back down. Go into that stretch and come back down. Now you can do something very clever. You're going to hold on strong to the top of your knee, keep it held still, and you're going to try and pull your butt back and roll onto your back a little bit, but don't let yourself move. Hold your knee still. So I'm going to try and pull back and resist it, breathing in, and breathe out. I'm going to just gently pull it over. I'm going to try and pull myself back. If I didn't have my hands securing me, I would just roll over. So I'm holding that strong. I'm going to try and pull back with my butt. You might even get a stretch in your butt here when you do that. Resist it. Out breath, pull it over. Now, one last little bit. We're going to take the arm out to the side if you've got enough room. I've got that room. So as we do the same, pull that butt back. My palms up to the ceiling. And I'm going to pull it across. And I might get a stretch as I'm feeling here. A bit more on my chest as well. Pull that butt back. And then pull it over. And I'm actually getting more of a stretch higher up in my back. And we'll do one more. Pull it back, resist. In breath. Out breath, take it over. Wonderful. Good. Okay, let's do the other side. So roll those knees over. Stacked up on top. Take that top knee up. Palm face down first of all. And then all we're going to do first of all is just pull that knee and then just let it return. Not the resistance just yet. Nice and free and easy, just to tease things out. How does this one feel, lads? Okay. So you want to hold on that knee with that hand. That hand goes on the floor behind you. Got it. Got it? Very good. Right, now let's put that resistance in. Hold on strong with the top of your knee. Try and pull, roll your back self back and resist it. Breathing in. And pull it over. Breathe in, pull it back. It's a very clever kind of trick for the body. It's called PNF stretching. And what does PNF stretching stand for, you ask me, Ads? Was that what you were going to ask me? No. No. It actually stands for proprioceptive neuromuscular facilitation. Woo! Which is a clever way to say we're tricking the body to let go of its tightness. Yeah? without all that fancy words. Woo! Okay, right. Nearly done, guys, for this sesh. Okay, let's retest. Sitting. Hands behind. Let's test out our windscreen wipers. Over to one side. Oh, hello. Feeling good? Feeling good. Okay, onto our knees. Side to side. Slalom and ski. Feeling good?
Feeling good.
Nice. Okay, standing up. Let me adjust the camera. Okay, jumping up. Off the mat. Boom. Right. Standing up. Okay. Right, so let's think of, we'll get to our functional movement in the end. Let's reverse it a little bit. Let's go with our posture. Close our eyes. In fact, close your eyes and march on spot. And stop. And open your eyes and look down. Whoa! Your feet a little straighter? Yeah, my feet are a little straighter. Good. So with all our stretching, we're actually bringing ourselves into better alignment. It's going to cause less injuries, much better health. You're going to be lighter, freer, and more powerful. Amazing. Right. So my feet and Addie's feet are looking a bit straighter. Doesn't matter if yours aren't. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. It's cool. But over time, you'll find the more you practice these kind of things, the more you'll line yourselves up. Right. Let's look at our knees. When we bend our knees, I was feeling a stretch at the back and then my knee. It's still there, but I'm able to go a lot further without it hurting. Yeah, can you feel that? Able to go a lot lower. Yeah, we freed that up a lot more space in my hips to go lower. Before I get to our hip, and it'll feel all tight and locked up. Now I can go loads more down into it. So we're building that flexibility up. Good. Our pelvis, our hips. For most of us, I needed to tuck under. When I did bum out, tuck under, bum out, tuck under. When I did less and less and less, I found I was tucking under a little bit more. But actually, now my pelvis is in that good position. And when I took my shoulders forwards and back, we haven't done too much shoulders today. I needed to take my shoulders back a little bit, but we did some chest stretching when we went to the sides. My chest is more open, that feels better. Heads, forwards, back, position. I actually feel like I'm actually leaning back a little bit rather than slumping. You'll notice you'll start to get better with your posture, is if you try and slouch and slump now, it actually just feels even worse on your back. So you can find you naturally spring yourself up into good posture. So you're not having to try, and that's showing you your fascia is working much better now. It's in a much better position when you're not having to try to stand up straight. When you're all tight, it's a chore and it's effort to stand up. Okay? Let's go for our breathing. Thumbs on that belly button, down on that lower tummy, other hand in. How's your lower tummy breath feeling? Well, I've got loads there now. Woo. Yeah? Lots? How about the back? Any in the back? We didn't have too much in the back, did we?
No.
Hello. You feel lots going on there? Yeah. So we freed up our back for breath a lot more. You go into the back and you often feel that pelvis tucking under. Beautiful. Into the sides of our waist. Let's see if there's any in the sides. Whoa, way more for me. And actually when my thumbs go around the back, I can feel a lot more going on around there. Up on my ribs. Actually, not as much as I would like in my ribs. No. And onto our heart and above our chest. Bit more there. I wouldn't say too much more. It's a bit of an improvement. Right, moment of truth. Let's see our functional movement. Let's see how that one feels. Oh, I'll bring my knee way further up, and not just to my toes. I can actually reach under my foot now. That's all good. That's looking tasty. Now for my toughie. This side, let's see. Toes. Oh, it's better. It is better. It's not so tough to get up there. See how your functional movements compare. Okay, guys, that's the end of our second session. In our third session, we're going to use like a broom or a stick of some kind, a mop, a broom, a feather duster that's long enough. You can use anything. So get that ready for your next class, because we are going to do a really cool sequence to open our shoulders and chest up more, and you're going to get more of that breath up here. And in our fourth session, we are going to do a super mix of everything we've learned at the high tempo. So you're going to have this excellent session. By the end, you're going to be able to take on the world. Okay? Hope you enjoyed that session today, and we will see you hopefully for session number 3.
Bye.
Bye.